Hello guys, in this video I'm going to show demo about implementing Firebase phone authentication in .NET MAUI for Android platform. So let's go through it. So here first we need to install one plugin in Android project. So let me install here in phone authentication project in a dependency of Android. Here I'm just going to click on manage NuGet packages, and here I'm just going to search for this xamarin.firebase.auth plugin, and that I'm just going to install here in Android project. So for iOS you need to install this plugin, and for Android you need to install this plugin. Okay, so this plugin is installed. Now I'm going to add this phone authentication application in a Google Firebase console. So for that I'm just going to open Google Firebase console. Here you can either create new project or open existing project. So here I'm just going to open this project and just click on this plus icon and select Android option. So here you need to add package name and this SHA1 debug signing certificate. So this will use for testing phone authentication. So let me just add package name here. So for adding package name, just right click on your project and just click on properties. So here in a debug option you will see this application ID. So this application ID you just need to copy and add here in a Firebase console. Now for getting debug signing certificate, you just need to add this command in command line. So here in command prompt I'm just going to add this command. So it's just going to show me this SHA1 debug signing certificate key. So this I'm just going to copy and add here in debug signing certificate SHA1. Now just click on this register app option. And now you can download this Google service JSON file and add that in our Android application. Okay, so here in a platform Android project I am just going to add this Google service JSON file. Now right click on this Google service JSON file and click on properties, and this build action you need to set as a Google service JSON. So this option you need to select. Now here in a main activity.cs you need to initialize Firebase app. So for that here in a on create method I'm just going to initialize Firebase app.initialize app. So now I can use Firebase authentication service after this initialization. So here now I'm going to create services in a phone authentication. So I'm just going to add one interface. Authentication service interface, here I just added. And one method I'm just going to create authenticate mobile, and here I'm just going to pass mobile number. Now here in a platform Android, I'm just going to add new folder services, and in that I'm just going to create class the name of this authentication service. So this class I'm just going to create here, and this going to inherit authentication service interface. Okay, and this namespace I'm just going to set common, so we can use here in iOS as well as Android. So whatever the namespace here I used, that namespace I'm just going to use here for authentication dot services. Now this same folder I'm just going to copy here in iOS project. Okay, now here in MAUI program.cs I'm just going to register these services. And this service, authentication service, I am just going to use here in a main page. So for that also I am going to register main page here, so I can access this authentication service here in main page. Now here in a main page, in this constructor I am just going to use this authentication service. Now here in UI, I'm just going to add one text box. I'm just going to remove this all code from here. So one entry here I'm just going to create, so that will user will enter here mobile number. And this button is going to be submit button. So here on a submit button I'm just going to invoke this authentication service dot authenticate mobile, and here I will pass txt mobile number dot tags. If user input nothing, then you can display here a message like please enter mobile number, something like that. Now here in Android authentication service class, I'm going to implement another class here called phone auth provider on verification state change callbacks, and it will implement two methods, on verification completed and on verification failed. So here I am just going to add now code related to sending verification code to particular mobile number. So first I am just going to create auth option new builder set phone number. So here I can specify what is the mobile number I have passed. that I can just pass here. Then set timeout. So you can set here timeout. So I'm just going to set here 16 seconds. So this timeout accepting argument in form of Java language long. So that's the reason I did here typecasting. And here timeout unit, I'm just going to specify seconds. And that here set activity, I will set like a platform dot current activity. And here in set callback I set this current class. So now this will send code to particular mobile, and after that it will invoke either this method, like if the verification is completed then this method will invoke, if the verification failed then this method going to invoke. So now font part provider dot verify font number, and in that this auth option I can specify whatever the configuration I have set here. Now let me create here one task completion source. So based on that we can decide either the verification code is sent or not. So that here I'm just going to set, when I call this method then I'm just going to initialize it, and that I'm just going to return. So now here on verification failed, I'm just going to set result to false. Okay, and here on a verification complete, you can just display some message like verification is completed in this method. And here I'm going to also write one method code send. So when the code is sent successfully, that time I'm just going to set this verification code completion source to true. Okay, so this on code send method is going to return verification ID that we can use for validating whatever the code user input in UI. So with the combination of verification ID and the user inputted code, we can validate the OTP. Now this verification ID, I am just going to create here one private variable. And this verification ID I am just going to store here. Now let me add one method here in authentication service, like validate OTP, and here I am just going to enter, I am going to pass here whatever the code that user received. So this method now I am going to implement here in Android project. So first I am just going to check like is the verification ID is available. If it is available, then I am just going to get credential using font or provider dot get credential. So here I need to pass verification ID and the SMS code. So verification ID we already stored when the on code send method is executed, that time we are saving this id in this variable, and whatever the user pass the code, that we going to pass in this method get credential. Now here, now I'm just going to sign in with credential, and this credential I'm going to pass here. Let me create one variable here. So here I will check like if the task is faulted or is cancelled. So if the user inputted code is not valid, then I will just set this return value to false, and I'm just going to return from here. Otherwise I just set return value to true. Okay, now I can call this method to verify the OTP. So now here in UI, here in the main page, I'm just going to add two layout. One first in this vertical stack layout, I'm just going to set name is and other vertical panel that for verification. So here on the btn verify code, I'm just going to call this new created method validate OTP, and in that this code I'm going to pass. So by default I will just set this panel visibility to false. So here in the main page.xaml.cs, now I'm just going to check like if this response authenticate mobile. Okay, so here in Android, this method authenticate mobile is going to return true if the mobile number is inputted mobile number is valid. So if it is valid, mobile and code sent to particular device, in that scenario I'm just going to set this panel visibility to true and this panel mobile info visibility to false. And here in btn verify code clicked, I'm just going to check here like here I will call validate OTP method, and in that I'm just going to pass this txt code.text. So this method either going to return true if the code is validated, then it's just going to return true, otherwise it's just going to return false. Okay, now when the user inputted code is valid, I am just going to add here one page in this project. .NET MAUI content page. Okay, so when the code is valid, I am just going to navigate to this new page 1. Okay, now here in a Firebase console, you need to do some settings. So first, here in a build option, in a authentication, you need to add here sign in method. So here add new provider and select phone. I already added here, and after adding that, you can add here testing device number. So I have added like this testing device and verification code. So using this number, I can uh, test like whether this phone authentication is working or not. And another thing you need to do, that here in app check, so go to build option and select app check, and here in apps you will see like what are the application you added. There you just select your application and just add here SHA 256 certificate fingerprint. So you will get, like we already use this command, so it displaying SHA1 signature as well as SHA256 fingerprint. So this you need to add here. After that, it's just going to work. So you just add that signature here. I'm going to add this command in a description of video link, so you can just use this command to get this fingerprint detail. Okay, now let me run the application and let's see it's working or not. Okay, so first I'm going to, okay, so here I need to check null. I'm just checking this line, so let me just check like, okay, so if I not add anything, then it's just going to show this error message. And if I add invalid number, and this Firebase is going to display this enter valid number message. Okay, now let me just try to add some valid number, so that we have added from here in testing. So this number I am just going to use. Okay, so now code is sent, so that another panel is displaying. So we just set this panel visibility to true, and let me just change this text to verify so it will not create confusion. Okay, now if I add first invalid verification code, so here in sign in method I just added verify code is 123456. So if I add any invalid code, then it is going to display this message enter valid code. And if I add valid code, then it's just going to verify and navigate to this new page. Okay, so let me try to test in some valid mobile number. Okay, so here I'm just going to submit. Okay, so it's received valid OTP. Okay, let me just check. Okay, so when I enter valid OTP, it's navigated to new page 1. Okay, so here another thing I want to say that here I have used this SHA1 fingerprint and SHA256 fingerprint from the debug environment. So like when you create a valid key store, like whatever the key store you use for release app, that key store detail you need to add here in this Firebase console, like while adding application. When you add Android application, so that time we added SHA1 fingerprint detail, so that you just need to add. Or you can from here also you can delete and add that SHA1 and SHA256 fingerprint detail. And also you need to do one thing, like you need to enable Android device check API. So from this Firebase, Google Firebase documentation, you will get this. Like you need to enable Android check device check API. So I already enable to test that. So after that, it's just going to work. Okay, so that's all for today. I hope you like this video and thank you so much for watching it.